Now that you know the colour scheme, we're going to put that knowledge into practice. This video is all about solving the white cross underneath. The most important thing when solving the white cross is to know where your colours are. Blue in front, red on the right, orange on the left, and green on the back. Yellow isn't important for this. The only thing that's important is blue in front, red on the right, orange on the left, and green at the back. And to make this even easier to understand, I'm going to be using my practice cube. This cube only has stickers on the areas we need to focus on. The white cross underneath, the blue again in front, red on the right, orange on the left, and green at the back. So now you know your colours, let me teach you about good and bad edges. We start as usual with a blue in front. When solving the edge pieces, you have what's known as good and bad edges, which I'll explain now. We'll start with all the edges on top. All the edges on top are in fact good edges, which makes them very easy to solve. So these here are all good edges, which means they can be moved to the bottom where the white pieces need to go to form the white cross in one easy move. This is where the colour recognition comes into play, and as this white and blue piece is in the front, it can be turned straight down to the bottom where it needs to end up. It's just 2 quarter turns in the same directions, 1, 2, and in this case you'd actually call that one move, as it's one continuous turn. The red is on the right, on the side that it needs to be, and again brought down to the bottom in one easy move. The orange on the right, that also gets turned downwards to the bottom. And finally, the green back here, I angle the top towards me, and with my first finger turn that slice to the bottom. And that solves the white cross. So let's say they're not in the correct position, so they're all back on top. To start with, ignore these centerpieces. These centerpieces are not important until right at the end. Remember your colour scheme and make sure you have your white centerpiece at the bottom here. I start by looking at what's in front of me. In this case, the orange. I know the orange goes on my left, so I move the orange to the left and turn that slice so that the white ends up on the bottom. This red here, we know that the red goes on the right, so I move the top until the red is on the right side, and then simply turn that slice until the white is on the bottom. The red and orange edges are now in the correct place. I look back up top and notice the blue. The blue goes in front. All I need to do is turn the face 1, 2, and the blue is now at the bottom. Finally, this green here gets moved to the back. And if you want to do this efficiently with your hands in default position, you can turn the left and middle slice to the front, then use your first finger to get the green to the bottom, and then turn the middle and left slice back to starting position. Only now do you have to look at where the centerpieces are. I know the red goes to the right, so I turn in that direction, and now you'll see that everything is lined up perfectly. Next, we're going to tackle the good and bad edges on the side of the cube. If they are here, 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 or here. I've actually put them all on one side, and this shows you if the whites are on the sides, here and here, that means they are good edges. If they are at the top or bottom, here and here, that means they are bad edges. Now, a bad edge isn't as bad as it sounds. It just means that it takes one extra move to turn it into a good edge. Let's start with the good edges. The right one here, all I have to do is turn this one to the bottom, because that's where the white square is. So that's where this one needs to end up, and it's now in the correct place. And obviously, remembering our colour scheme, the red is on the right. So it's exactly where it needs to be. The other good edge over here happens to be the orange. In one move, the orange is now in the correct place. So the red and the orange pieces are solved at the bottom. So here we actually have two bad edges on the same side. You'll notice that they are opposite colours. The blue is opposite the green. The blue needs to end up in the front and the green needs to end up at the back. A very fast way of solving both pieces at the same time is to turn the front 1/4 turn. I see the green is on this side, which needs to go to the back. I simply turn the top 2 layers. You'll find that you turn the top 2 layers a lot when solving the white cross. And you'll notice that the blue is now in front and the green is at the back. So rewinding back to where we were, in a few quick moves you turn the 2 bad edges into good edges, one move to get them to the correct side. The blue gets turned downwards and is now solved, and one turn on the back slice solves the green, and that gives you the white cross. The middle pieces were placed correctly, but if they weren't, you just have to turn them until they align correctly. Here is another case where you have the bad edge on the side. As it's a blue edge, we know that it needs to go down here in the front. I'm going to show you this with the green as well in a minute, but first let's see how we get this blue piece down here. This is actually a very easy case. You'll also notice that the red is already in the correct place. So you have to take care not to mess that up. Start by moving the piece down towards you, and you'll notice that the blue is now on the correct face. But you'll also notice that the red has moved as well. So to solve this, you use this finger. So it started up here, you move it down, the first finger pushes down and moves the blue down to the bottom, which solves that, but the red and white piece is no longer at the bottom. So by turning your hand back into default starting position, you correct everything, and now you have the white cross. Just to show you that again, the blue and the white is up here and the red and white are solved. Bring the blue towards you, the first finger pushes it down into the correct place, and finally the right hand turns its side back to starting position. And that sorts everything out. Once more, with this piece starting in the bad edge. The blue comes down towards you, first finger pushes down, and the right hand corrects everything by going back to starting position, which brings the red back into the correct place. I'll now show you the same situation with the green piece. The green piece needs to go to the back, but it's here on a bad edge on the left. You've also got the orange solved on this side, so you don't want to mess that up. The most efficient way to do this is to move the right 2 slices down towards you. Your left first finger then pushes the top of the slice so that the green and white piece go to the back where it needs to go. Finally, move the 2 slices back down, which corrects the orange side and completes the cross. I'll show you that again. Blue in front, red here. This green needs to go into the back slot. The right 2 slices come down towards you, first finger pushes it into place, and then finally move your right pieces back into starting position. It's done in 3 easy moves. In cubing terms, little r prime, u, little r. One, 2, 3. Here's another bad edge case. The red is on the correct side, but the wrong way round, and is on a bad edge. On the other side, it's at the top. This one is on the correct side and needs to go in here, but it's a bad edge. Let's start on the right side. For this situation, I would do an R the wrong way round, which turns it into a good edge, and push the two slices away on the other side, and then an R move will put it in the correct slot over here. Again, this one starts here. R, little u prime, R. And the red is in place. Now on the orange side at the top, it's actually quite a similar situation. The left hand does an L move, the right first finger does a little U move, finally an L prime will put the orange in the correct slot. Again, L, little U, L prime. Once more, L, little u, L prime. Alternatively, you could start with an L prime, which places the orange and white piece at the back, then perform a little u prime to bring it to the front, and then finish with an L. Finally, as the center pieces are misaligned, you just have to turn it until everything lines up. It's probably easiest to learn this if you can watch me actually doing a few example solves. I'm starting with a white on the bottom, and what I tend to find quite often is that there'll be one white edge piece in place already. So I always use that as my starting point. For instance, this is the green edge piece, so I know that it has to go to the back, and because the back is slightly more awkward to get to, it means I can concentrate on the easier pieces at the front. So looking here, I can see that this orange piece goes to my left. It's now in a good edge on top of where it needs to go, and with an L prime 2, it's exactly where it needs to be. I now notice that the blue and white piece is in a bad edge on top, and I need to get the piece down here. But a simple L, F prime, L prime solves that case, and you'll see the cross is almost complete. The final red piece is at the back here, and with one simple R move, that is now in place. The white cross is complete. Now all that's left to do is turn the top two layers until the middle pieces are aligned. I've messed up the cube again, and this time you only have the white centerpiece at the bottom and there are no other solved pieces. Now I notice that I've got the blue and white piece over here, so I use this as my starting point. So as you've seen previously, to get this piece in is easy, even though it's on a bad edge. I just do R prime, and then F puts it into the correct place. I bring this side back here to where it was, in case I've messed anything up, and it also puts the hands back into default position. Next, I see the orange on the left here is in a perfect position to go where it needs to go. The green over here is easy. Just doing a little U move brings it to the back. Then by turning the back slice, puts that into place. And finally, this red is in a bad edge on this side. So all I have to do is bring it towards me with an R prime, little u, and an R solves that, and it also finishes our white cross. As an added bonus, all the middle pieces are perfectly aligned. This is my third and final solve with the practice cube. I always start by looking to see if there are any solved edges on the bottom. I see this blue piece. I often start with this colour because it goes in front. It's on the right, and a simple F move puts that in place. Next, I see green on the left here. I turn it to the back because that's where it belongs, and simply turn the back slice until it's down at the bottom where it needs to be. So now I've got half the cross solved at the bottom with the blue and green. I see orange here and see that it's in the right place but the wrong way round. So I bring it up towards me with an L prime, little u to the back, and bring it down into the correct place with another L prime. I then spot the final white piece at the back. I perform a little U which brings it to the correct side. Push that down with an R and that completes the white cross. Finally align the centre pieces and you're ready to move on to solving the corner pieces.